Hello everyone and welcome back to Sports Today. So we've just seen a rather interesting development in, of course, the Champions League, the UEFA Champions League round of 16 draw. Now the group stages got over recently, and as we know, there's normally a draw that is done to determine who plays whom in the round of 16 encounters, and that draw continues on even for the last eight, the quarterfinals. But for now, let's focus on the round of 16 because boy oh boy do we have some very tasty, feisty encounters awaiting. I'll just quickly go over the fixtures that we can expect to be seeing from this particular round of 16, and then we'll go over which of them seems like, of course, the ones to look out for the most. Now, RB Leipzig versus Manchester City was the first draw, so good draw if you're a Manchester City fan. Club Brugge, one of the darlings of the knockout tournaments and one of the biggest underdogs. Well, they drew Benfica. Liverpool versus Real Madrid. Now that's a really good encounter, and it's of course a repeat of not only the previous year's final but of the final that took place in 2019. So, or rather 2018, sorry. And then you have the other draws. There's AC Milan versus Tottenham Hotspur. Again, it's a good draw, pitting aside that have been Champions League regulars, Tottenham and of course AC Milan, who are the defending champions of Italy. Eintracht Frankfurt, last year's Europa League winners, will take on Napoli, the Italian side, and Borussia Dortmund have probably drawn a pretty tricky one because they will be going up against Chelsea. Inter Milan, by the way, who of course did pretty well during the group stages, finished second in a very tough group. They will be taking on FC Porto, and the best match I've saved for the end. Bayern Munich have drawn Paris Saint-Germain. So obviously, if you're looking at all of these matches, there's two fixtures that for me really stand out. One is, of course, PSG versus Bayern Munich. PSG have been in massively good form this season, although you could say that that's true for them every year when they play because the French league isn't that difficult. But Lionel Messi has been a man reborn, and Neymar and Mbappe and those three have actually formed a really good understanding. So if I'm a Bayern fan, I am going to be worried about that draw. But Bayern have been in imperious form in the Champions League. Remember, they actually topped their group and they won 6 out of 6 games. So whilst their fortunes in, of course, their domestic league might be a bit mixed this year, their Champions League record has been really good, and they actually won 6 out of their 6 games. So they were comfortable group toppers. They beat everyone twice. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm pretty sure it's going to be an absolute cracker. But the other match, which is of course we're talking about, Liverpool versus Real Madrid. You'd remember that, of course, these two have faced off against each other twice in the last 4 Champions League seasons, and both times it has been Real Madrid that have come out on top. Obviously, the 2018 one was remembered for being more contentious because that was the time when Sergio Ramos broke Mohamed Salah's shoulder just before the World Cup. But then, of course, Salah did eventually recover, but there was a bit of a feisty rivalry there because you had Salah saying last year that, we're out for revenge. One of you is going to be out for revenge this time around. If he is, probably shouldn't be saying it out in public before the match because if it backfires, it doesn't look very good on you. But still a big round of 16 encounter, and the other major tough match, which you'd of course be looking forward to. As I was mentioning, if you're a Manchester City fan, you'd love the fact that they drew RB Leipzig. Leipzig are a decent side, but I think City should blow them away. AC Milan, Tottenham Hotspur, very underrated, match for me because again, Tottenham are managed by former Juve and Inter manager Antonio Conte. He definitely was someone who was used to sticking it to AC Milan when he got the chance. Will he get to do it with Tottenham? He sure will hope so. Dortmund versus Chelsea. Again, if you're a long-suffering Chelsea fan like me, you will realize that Dortmund is probably one of the best teams you could have gotten in this draw because again, they're good but not great, and they do offer you the easiest possible passage to the quarterfinals from the teams that Chelsea could have potentially played. The other easy team potentially could have been Eintracht Frankfurt, but Napoli drew them instead. Anyway, that's the major news from, of course, this particular draw. It's going to be an interesting, very exciting, Champions League fixtures when it does happen. Of course, there's so much more going on before that. You'll have the World Cup taking place, then the Champions League, and league football will resume. Of course, in December, Champions League will resume next year. Definitely, the knowledge that we have fixtures as good as these to look forward to will keep us tuned in. But I'm taking your leave for now. I'm glad you all joined me for this breaking news update. Thank you all. Don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap that bell icon, and of course follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can also show the wonderful folks at the Sports app and website you love. Download that app, check out the website, and for all your fill from the world of sports. Thank you once again for joining us. Bye bye for now.